What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Inside Inter Miami, the show from the Miami Herald about all things Inter Miami. I'm your host, Andre Fernandez, joined as always by Michelle Coffin, our Inter Miami beat writer. Big things to talk about this week. One big name, especially if you haven't checked the internet and if you've been sleeping, since Tuesday morning and haven't seen this whole thing with Neymar potentially being a member of Inter Miami. Maybe not maybe not soon, but down the road at some point. Big rumors going on about that. We'll recap the playoff opener. The game one went well for Inter Miami against Atlanta. They have the 1-0 lead in the series. We'll dive into how Inter Miami got the edge, the upper hand so far in the series. We'll talk. Michelle talked a little bit with Coach Tata Martino about Jordi Alba's big performance. We'll dive into the big performance again from Yannick Bright in that game. Played a big role. Unfortunately, fortunately, actually, the Fray injury update news was a little more positive than originally thought, so we'll dive into that as well. We'll look at Game 2, of course, set to be played in Atlanta this weekend in that crazy atmosphere, always at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And we'll look at what's going on the other side of the bracket. We'll take a peek, not to look past Atlanta. The series ain't over yet, but we'll look at how it's going on the other side with the potential opponent in the second round with Orlando and Charlotte. And then we'll finish up talking about those salaries, Michelle, which are through the roof. Inter Miami, a rich soccer club with the money they're paying Messi and others. We'll talk about that too. But we got to start with Neymar. This is huge.
Neymar, we're talking about a big name. Neymar.
Yep.
There is no bigger name.
When you're one name.
You're one name and you're Brazilian.
Right.
Messi is Messi. There's nobody as big as Messi.
Messi might as well be one name too, but
he is. He's one name, Messi, Ronaldo.
Right.
But yes, the rumors, there have been whispers for a long time about Neymar and Miami. It's no secret. There he is. Neymar at a Miami Heat game, courtside with some shoes given to him by Jimmy Butler. Neymar and Jimmy Butler are friends. Neymar and Jimmy Butler went to the Miami Open tennis tournament together last year. They were seen together. Neymar has shown up on the, courtside at Heat games. I believe at least one game he was sitting next to the Moss brothers. But he's a huge Heat fan. He's a friend of Jimmy Butler. He threw out the ceremonial first pitch of the Marlins this year in late March. And he was photographed out to dinner with David Beckham and Victoria, his wife. And Beckham posted it on Instagram with a little sort of teaser like, hey, Neymar, welcome to Miami just for dinner. Like wink, wink, just for dinner. Nothing more. Don't read more into it. But of course, everyone is going to read more into it. So this is a guy who loves Miami. He's Brazilian, loves Miami, has been hanging out in Miami for quite some time. And this week purchased a $26 million waterfront property in Bal Harbor, which is off Miami Beach. $26 million lot. That's just for the lot. He's now building a home. The story that I wrote has details. Go to MiamiHerald.com. You can get details about the house that he is building with a famous architect out of London. And so now those little whispers have become louder whispers, rumblings, rumors that, hey, is it possible that Neymar is going to join his former Barcelona teammates, Messi, Suarez, Alba, Busquets, 5 of them? We've been talking about the Beatles and the Mount Rushmore. We're going to have to come up with, the Fab Five or something. I mean, we're talking about 5 guys who played together on Barcelona, won 7 trophies, scored over 300 goals together and 270 some assists together. I mean, we're talking about one of the most spectacular trios in recent soccer history would be reunited if this were to happen. It seems crazy. It seems impossible. But I was saying those same words 3 years ago about Lionel Messi coming here. Right. When Jorge Mas would tell me over and over and tell us and tell me whenever I would run into him, Michelle, we're going to get Messi. You watch, we're going to get Messi. And I was like, yeah. That's just not going to happen. And then last year when he said to me, epic summer, Mark my words, Michelle, epic summer. And sure enough, he and David Beckham and his brother Jose managed to land after 3 years of courting Messi. They land him. And now you have to wonder, Neymar, let me just tell you real quick, Neymar, his contract with Al Hilal ends in May of 25. So he's a free agent next summer. For next summer's window, he will be available to go to another club. The word is that even though he's making about $100 million over there, has a 25-room mansion at his disposal and a private jet, that he wants to be in Miami. Everyone wants to be in Miami, wants to play with Messi and all that. It would make sense. Mid-2025, he would come here in time for the Club World Cup, in time possibly and then in time for the 26th World Cup. He can build his brand in the United States. We've been talking about Messi and all the marketing that he's doing here in the United States. Neymar can do the same thing, build his brand in the United States, leading into the 2026 World Cup. And, interesting timing, Inter Miami will be opening its new stadium in March of 2026, around there, to open the 2026 season. Now, Messi's contract with Inter Miami expires at the end of 25 with an option for 26. Luis Suarez, if he comes back for another year, would probably be a year by year. So now you've got an opportunity to get Neymar, who's 32, 5 years younger, not a young man, but not as old as the others. 32 years old, getting here next year in 2025, or even to start the 26th season, you've got your new face of the franchise for when the other guys retire. You've got Neymar now as a face of the franchise. What do you think about all this? What do you think, Andre?
Well, with all respect to the Fab Five of the early 90s Michigan basketball team, this blows that completely out of the water. And because this would be the super team of all super teams. I mean, this is like if the Lakers had Kobe and LeBron at the same time back in the day when they were both, playing together. Maybe, some of these guys are obviously in their 30s, high 30s in some cases, but just on name value, it's incredible to think that he'd be here at the same time before Messi retires. But let's say he's the replacement, coming in after Messi retires. It's a hell of a move because it's what this franchise needs, because we've talked about it a bunch. That was always the thing. They're enjoying the moment. They're enjoying the next year and a half, whatever it is. But what happens? But then what? Exactly. So if you bring him here, you've just guaranteed yourself an extension of a few more years of having that type of status with that type of player.
And especially with the stadium opening. They want this stadium, the new stadium, which, by the way, I drove by it the other day again every time I go to the airport. It's still not, my husband keeps joking, it needs to go a little more vertical. It's still very horizontal. There's nothing going on yet. They've cleared the land and there's concrete down there somewhere, but I'm not seeing anything rising yet from the ground.
Development projects can take some time, but all of a sudden, I've noticed that all the time. You see in Miami all the time, where all of a sudden you blink and 3 weeks later, hey, where did this building come from?
Exactly. You're driving down the street and you're like, wait a minute, there's a 30-story condo that has just gone up since I last went to this restaurant, and now I'm going to pick up at this restaurant again, takeout, and all of a sudden there's a 30-story condo.
I have a feeling that's what's going to happen with this.
They did build. I mean, Chase Stadium, they threw that up in 18 months. Now that was a temporary stadium, but still, Jorge Mas, the Mas Tech company, they know what they're doing when it comes to construction. But anyway, let's say that they are going to open at the beginning of 26th season. They need big names to christen that stadium, to launch that stadium, they want to make a big splash with that new stadium, and having somebody like Neymar added to the collection of the players on this team, it would be massive. And, for Neymar, he would have to take a huge pay cut. I mean, there's no way. We're going to talk at the end of the show about salaries. The salary list came out. The MLSPA salary list came out for the end of the season. And, there's some interesting numbers there. Miami does have a huge payroll, by far the biggest of anyone else in the league. But they don't have the kind of money to pay $100 million, $80 million of a contract. That's that's Saudi Arabian money. That's not MLS money. But as you see with Messi coming here And Busquets, Alba, Suarez, they all took pay cuts to come here. They turned down bigger money to come play here because they want the lifestyle, the more relaxed lifestyle in the United States. They like the idea of raising their corporate brand and also just playing together. For these guys now, toward the end of their careers, the chance for them to play together, their wives are friends, their kids are friends. They're so happy. They're so happy here. And yes, right now they're playing in a temporary stadium and whatever. They're playing in MLS, which is not one of the top 3 leagues in the world, but they're happy. They've already made tons of money. They've already won huge trophies with Champions League and everything else. They have some other priorities in their lives right now, especially with kids. And it would not surprise me. It would not surprise me at all if Neymar would want to come. And he has sort of hinted at it over the last few years that he would like to have one of the final stages of his career be in the United States. He loves the U.S., comes here all the time, loves Miami. And now Miami Herald did confirm with an inside source in the local real estate market that he did, in fact, buy that property and is building a home on that property on the waterfront. So he's going to be here in town in 2025 and 2026. Neymar is going to be here hanging out at his waterfront Bal Harbor house. He may as well play soccer here too.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing with this franchise. If this franchise is going to be sustainable beyond Messi and even beyond Neymar, let's say it happens 10 years from now, this team is going to continue to attract star quality talent down here from around the world. Like you said, it's got to be, they have to have guys like Messi finish up here and tell the others it's worth it to come down here, brand wise, financially wise, like experience wise, lifestyle, everything. It is worth coming here, even if you're making a little bit less. And yeah, it'll be easier to attract guys who have made their money elsewhere already and are in
a good position,
in terms of brand, in terms of everything, are in a good position where they can afford that. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I think, people look at it and say,
it'll be interesting to see. I mean,
how could they do it? How could MLS do that? How could Inter Miami they will have to rearrange some things because there's still only 3 DPs on the team. And so that's, there's going to have to be some creative financing in order to have all those. If all 5 of those were on the same team, that will require massive pay cuts and creative financing, but they've done it before, and they could do it again.
And I think even if you don't put them all together all at once and have the insane super team, the fact that even he could come in and almost like a passing of the torch from Messi to him would still be incredible for them, in terms of accomplishing a huge goal in the long run, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So keep an eye, keep your ear antennas up. I'm going to be following this as closely as I can, trying to get as many clues as I can going forward. I've talked to some people, some sources of mine who said, when I say, is there any truth to this? What I've heard is it's not imminent. It's not something that's going to happen right away. Nothing in the near future, but no one is ruling it out. And after the fact that they brought Messi and all those other 3 guys here, I don't think you can rule anything out with this team. I do remember when I was talking to Jorge Mas, and I was in Paris on the day that Messi announced, and I was talking to him from Paris, and he was doing an interview with me on the day that Messi signed. I was on vacation. Well, my vacation ended that day, but I was on vacation in Paris, and I was on the phone with Jorge Mas, and I said, I can't believe it, Jorge. I really cannot believe that this really just happened. And he said to me in Spanish, Michelle, don't ever get in the way between a Cuban and his dream. He said, don't get in the way of a Cuban and his dream. Yep. And, his dream was to bring Messi here. Messi's here. His dream was to build a stadium here. He's going to build a stadium here, and he's calling it Miami Freedom Park. The park is going to be called the Jorge Mas Canosa, the park part of the project in honor of his father.
Yeah.
Jorge and his brother both have a real dream to leave a legacy in their family's name with the city of Miami, a lasting legacy. And it means a lot to them as Cuban immigrants. And when he said, don't ever get in the way of a Cuban and his dream, he's putting his money where his mouth is. he's doing what it takes. And don't be surprised if one day, we see Neymar here, because we saw already he goes to Heat games. He goes to Miami Open tennis. He throws out the pitch at the Marlins game. He hangs out with David Beckham. He now is going to have a house in Bal Harbor on the water. I mean, everything is lining up. Let's just say everything is lining up, and the signs are pointing to a potential deal.
Think of the credibility they have now after what they've been able to do, to be able to sign players like that, because it's not a pipe dream anymore. It doesn't sound like it. They have the credibility now. Like, look who we have. Look who's here, and he'll tell you. So
they're in first place, and they're in first place right now in the playoffs, which segues right into our next segment.
Yeah,
let's talk about this actual team and what they're doing on the field.
Yeah, how important is it going to be to win this MLS Cup to add fuel to that fire and have even more credibility to attract a player like Neymar? The first step was taken last weekend as Inter Miami was able to go up 1-0, a crucial win to get it at home before they go to Atlanta, not be on the brink heading to Atlanta in such a tight window of best-of-3 series. Luis Suarez with another goal. Jordi Alba played amazing, had the game-winning goal. Messi with the assist. Jordi, amazing. I mean, really, you saw Michelle. He's been, we talk so much about Messi and Suarez, but Jordi's unbelievable. Has been huge for this team.
I feel like Alba, of the four, Alba gets the least amount of credit and the least amount of talk. And what he does from the left back, quote unquote, left back position. He's really left winger. He goes up and down that left sideline and provides so many crosses and assists that lead to goals. I mean, he is really, really unique. And we asked at the post game, Tata Martino was asked about Jordi Alba. Let's hear what he had to say.
Y no es fácil encontrar laterales que tengan tanta participación y tanta certeza en el juego ofensivo del equipo. Por ahí habrá que irse a Dani Alves, a Cafú, a Marcelo, a Roberto Carlos, a ese nivel. Incluso creo que técnicamente es de una calidad que es muy raro observar en un lateral. Y esto además se acrecientan por el entendimiento que tienen con Luis y con Leo y cómo encontrarlos, ¿no? Y también cómo ellos lo encuentran a Jordi. Así que seguramente es difícil encontrar un jugador que juegue en la posición que está él y que sea tan decisivo.
Yeah, Tata was saying there, for those who don't speak Spanish, that it's very, very difficult and very rare to find a player, a left back, lateral, a left back who is so active in the offense, so decisive and so active in the offense, so involved. And he said on top of his own skill, which is amazing, the way that he finds Luis Suarez and Messi and the way they find him, the telepathy that they have together, the chemistry that they have, the combination of that is very, very, very difficult to find. And he compared him to some of the best backs in history, in recent history anyway. He talked about Roberto Carlos. He talked about Cafú. He talked about Dani Alves. Some of the best players at that position, names. Really big names. And he put him in the same category. He's saying Jordi Alba is in the same category as those guys. And on top of that, the way that he finds his teammates and the way that they find him is really remarkable.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't want the stress of a soccer coach's job, but I do have chair envy. I love those big chairs that they get to sit in. They look so comfy. We see those there and on the sidelines. That looks great there. It looks like those gaming chairs. It looks like a gaming chair.
Like the gaming chairs are like a really good desk chair that's good for your back and good for your spine. And
it's the least they could do with the stress of the job, I'm sure, especially what Tata's had to deal with this year, I'm sure.
But, absolutely. But that game, I mean, Jordi showed what he can do.
Yeah.
Messi didn't score, but he had the assist. And then once again, let's do it. El Pistolero.
Yeah.
In the second minute, I mean, he scored right away. The ageless wonder. He scored right away.
Yeah.
Continues to build a case for signing a new contract for next season. Yeah. He continues to score, continues to deliver. In this case, he scored early. And then Jordy scored later, and they were able to hang on despite Brad Guzan. Let's talk about Brad Guzan, the goalkeeper for Atlanta United. Eight saves.
Yep.
He made 8 saves. This is a, U.S. national team goalie who is, still at age, I believe 40, is still really, really, really good. And he was on. He was so on that all the players were looking at him like, whoa. They were taking shots. Inter Miami dominated the game, dominated possession, took way more shots than Atlanta. But Brad Guzan saved 8 shots. He made 8 saves, and that's tough to do.
And something to keep an eye on.
Against the guys, especially against guys like Messi and Suarez that he was going up against. So for him to get 8 saves, and believe me, he's really good, and he's a key player on that team, and he will continue to be, going forward. We asked Tata, and other players, what did they like about how they played in this game? Because remember, Miami had never beaten Atlanta this year. They lost 3-1 the first time at home. They tied in Atlanta 2-2. So what was different this time? What was different this time is they played better defensively. They did, give up 1 goal, yes, but for the most part, they played better defensively. He played a back 5 where Boosie played in the back, and once again, it allowed Yannick Bright to play as a defensive midfielder with Boosie sort of a stopgap in the back. They played much better defensively. They didn't give the ball as much up in transition, which is where they tend to give up a lot of goals. So they were definitely more organized in the midfield and in the back than they had been. That was one of the things that everyone pointed out. And Yannick Bright, once again, had a very big game. And he is he's the biggest bargain on this team. I'm going to talk about salaries later, but he makes $71,000. He is a college rookie coming in from the University of New Hampshire, and not only starting for this team, making such an impact that Tata Martino has decided to move Busquets around to the back so that he can also have Yannick Bright on the field at the same time. Let's see what Yannick had to say about the team's mentality now that the playoffs have kicked off.
Our goal is to win it all and, to win everything. So we just talked about how we have to, how we fought the whole year for this moment, and how the level of intensity and focus should be like it's never been before. And, show up and show off. That's what we talked about.
That should be on a T-shirt. Show up and show off.
Yes, show up and show off. They want to show, yes, that they won the Supporters Shield, as we talked about, but they want to also win this. First of all, I'm not saying this is a priority, but one of the priorities, they will definitely justify being in the Club World Cup next summer if they win the Supporters Shield and win MLS Cup. They don't want to lose MLS Cup to Columbus Crew or to one of the LA teams or anybody. They want to win this thing and show that they are the superior team in this league. And winning just the Supporters Shield, while it does show that you were the best team over the entire spread of the season, they still want to win MLS Cup. In this country, they do have playoffs. You want to win the cup. You want to win the title, the trophy. And they want to do that. And they've put themselves in position to do that. The last game, unfortunately, they were not able to celebrate. You would have thought that at the end of that game, there were going to be huge celebrations to win their first playoff game ever in club history. But I can tell you, because the interview room is next to the locker room, normally when they have a big win, the locker room is pounding with music. We can hear the music and the players actually singing and chanting and stuff from the interview room. This time, I can tell you it was dead silence. It was dead silence after that game, even though they won, because of the injury to Ian Fray. Ian Fray, for people who may be new to the team or not paying as much attention all year, this is a young man who's local, a young guy from Coconut Creek, Florida, grew up here, was on the academy team, and he has overcome and recovered from 3 ACL knee surgeries, 3 reconstructive knee surgeries on the same knee, ACLs, and was playing really well, comes into the game as a sub late in the game the other day and goes down. A non-contact injury, goes down, had to be helped off the field. He could not put any pressure on it, left the stadium sobbing, left the stadium on crutches with his teammates consoling him. Everybody was there was very little celebration after that game. Everybody's mood was down. Everybody's celebration was tempered, and everyone was muted. It was just kind of demoralizing for the team that they won that game, but they lost Ian Fray. The only positive, promising news is what you mentioned earlier, that it's not an ACL. They did scans. His ACL is fine. It's a meniscus injury. He is going to require surgery, but a more minor surgery. And they are expecting that he will be back, for early next season. Right. Not for these playoffs, but he will be able to play again. He did not tear the ACL again. And that is at least reason. It's still going to be
silver lining
hard for him.
Yeah. Silver lining in the long term, but in the short term, unfortunately.
Exactly. Yeah. A silver lining in what could have been just a horrible, horrible ending to his career, maybe. But it looks like, knowing how he is going to want to come back, and he will come back for next season. And we are all wishing the best for Ian Fray.
Yeah, for sure. And you want to see, you're glad to hear in the long run that it's not as bad, but unfortunate setback for Miami, which still, again, we don't understand why they weren't celebrating. Even if that had not happened, I would have been like, good. I'm glad in a way that they're not celebrating too hard, because series isn't over by a long shot. This is a tight window, 2 out of 3. Saturday, it's going to be packed to the brim once again at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Like you said before, Brad Guzan had a great game last game. He's going to have another one, I'm sure, if Atlanta wants to make a series out of this. But Michelle, your thoughts as they head into, potentially the closeout game on Saturday in Atlanta?
Yeah, well, first of all, they opened the stadium up to full capacity, which is 71,000.
It's going to be the Falcons' capacity.
Yes, they are opening it up to full capacity, which means there could be 70,000 people there. And yes, there will be Messi fans, but there will be a lot of people rooting for Atlanta. I can tell you, Atlanta, I never thought when they started a team in Atlanta, a club, I honestly, I have to admit, I was wrong. I'll admit when I was wrong. I never thought that Atlanta was going to be a great market for soccer, because to me, it didn't seem like it was in that much of an international market. I didn't think they had that much of a history of soccer in that area. But wow, those fans in Atlanta, they are very supportive of their teams. And I remember way back when they started, which is when Tata was there. Remember that Tata won an MLS championship with them in their third year of existence. Tata, or second year in existence, there were flags everywhere, all over Atlanta. We went up there for a wedding, a family wedding, and there were Atlanta United flags everywhere, people wearing Atlanta United shirts. And I was like, wow, people are really into this team. I'm very surprised. And they still are. They get very big crowds. They get, even for non-Messi games, they can get 40,000 people for a game. But for this game, a playoff game with Messi and all the other stars playing, I would not be surprised if they get 65 or 70,000 people. So that's number one. There's going to be a huge crowd rooting for Atlanta mostly. Number two, it's on artificial turf. Not the favorite surface for anybody, but definitely more used to it. Atlanta United is definitely more used to it than the Inter Miami players. Brad Guzan coming off a huge game, and they are very, very hungry to make this a series. They had a very up and down season. They were not expected to make the playoffs. Then all of a sudden they squeak into the playoffs. They squeak into the playoff game. They go up to Montreal, win in a thrilling,
PKs.
In a PK shootout, and make the first round against Inter Miami. And then, they only lost 2-1. And this is a team that knows, and it's heart of hearts, they know that they beat Miami 3-1 this year. They tied Miami 2-2 up there. They know that. And now they lost to them, but only 2-1. So this is not going to be an easy game. Let's see what Tata, who knows this franchise better than anybody, or as well as anybody, let's see what Tata had to say about this matchup.
Me parece que los dos chicos que se lesionaron en el primer tiempo están afuera del partido revancha. Pero primero con lo complejo que es el rival. Un rival muy bien trabajado. Rob está haciendo un trabajo, la verdad, muy, muy bueno. Lo que representa jugar en la cancha de Atlanta, con la amplitud que tiene, y la verdad es que difícil, para nosotros difícil, como ha sido este rival durante toda la temporada.
Yeah, for those who don't speak Spanish, again, we'll translate. Tata saying this is going to be very difficult to, yes, they're going to be missing a couple players who got injured that probably won't be available for this return game, but the mere, the sheer size of that stadium is something that's intimidating and difficult. He said that their coach, which was an interim coach, Rob Valentine, an interim coach, he applauded him and said that he's doing a very good job with the team, and that, this is going to be a very tough opponent. They have proven all season that they're a very tough opponent for Miami. And so believe me, Miami may be up 1-0, but they are not taking this opponent lightly at all. This is a team that has given them trouble all year. This is a team that they only beat by 1 goal, and Messi did not score. Okay. Messi did not score on Brad Guzan in this game. You're talking about, best player of all time was not able to score. He did have an assist. So it's not going to be easy. It's going to be very difficult on the road with a huge crowd on an artificial surface with a very, very fired up and energized Atlanta team that really believes that they can beat Miami because they have.
Yeah, the experience, and then, like you said, the fact that this game was so close, it was a tightly contested match. See, if Inter Miami had come out and rolled them, won like 3-0, 4-0, something like that, all of a sudden maybe some doubts creep in, but they feel like they're right in it. And again, small series, only best of 3. We're not talking about a 3 out of 5 or anything crazy. It's, they can get right back in this with a victory, and then all on the line, do or die. It'll be like a game 7 in other sports the next week back in Miami. So anything goes at that point.
Yeah, I'll be there. By the way, I want you to know that the Miami Herald
Michelle
is going to be there
on site. Yep.
I will be there on site live. So will our photographer, Matthias Ochner, who's a fantastic. Yes. I'm going to throw in a shout out for Matthias. He is one of the best soccer photographers that I have ever seen. He happens to be from Argentina, so it must be in the blood. He knows what he's looking for. But that guy, if some of you have not had a chance, if you go to MiamiHerald.com to any of my game stories and scroll down to the photo gallery, he does a photo gallery after every game that's usually 35 or 40 photos from the game. Some of the most amazing action shots, and also, mood shots on the sideline. He's really fantastic photographer. So he's going to be with me up in Atlanta. We will be at Mercedes-Benz Stadium reporting live for the Miami Herald. So please be sure to watch our coverage and pay attention. Click on MiamiHerald.com for our coverage on Saturday.
Matthias is not just a good soccer photographer. He's a good everything photographer. I mean, a real quick shout out is he used to do the all county photos for a long time. Still does, but and probably is the best at highlighting the kids and showing them in like great poses that he does, stuff like that. He's a magician out there, and he's thrilled because, like you said, being from Argentina, I remember talking to him during the World Cup, and let's just say he was living and breathing every little minute of that run that Messi made back then.
He said that he likes to shoot sports, but his favorite sport to shoot by far is soccer. And you can tell when you see what he does. Pay attention. Those of you who haven't seen it, go look up Matthias Ochner's soccer photographer. He's fantastic.
Definitely. Let's take a peek at the other side of that bracket, though, Michelle. Orlando took the lead in their series against Charlotte, 1-0. So could we get the state rivalry in the second round?
They could. They won 2-0. They won 2-0 the first game. They lead the series 1-0. That would be, Orlando, Miami is always in every, whether it's basketball or whether it's soccer or even, just high school sports.
This one in particular has been really heated and a lot of shenanigans.
Very heated with shenanigans with
the sign defacing, all that stuff.
Defacing the Messi, mural and with purple paint and everything. It's kind of a.
Now you put that in a Walton playoff? Oh my God, that would be incredible.
That when it would be a 1-game elimination game. It would be
Do or die.
It would be here.
Right.
Do or die. Miami does have the home field advantage. So imagine if Orlando finishes ahead of Charlotte, which they won 2-0 the first game.
Yeah.
If Orlando beats Charlotte, Orlando will come down here for the next game. I believe it's November 23rd. There's a 2-week break there for yet another FIFA window. Interrupting. It's in my opinion terrible. Start the playoffs. Get everyone fired up about the playoffs. And no, we're gonna take a little time out, a little speed bump. Pause. Just pause.
The two little sticks at the end of the TV there. Pause.
Exactly. Pause for 14 days. For 2 weeks, we're going to keep you on hold for the. First of all, the team that's ahead loses the momentum. Yeah. Whatever momentum you have, you lose 2 weeks, and then sending players to national teams. Who knows if someone gets injured right on the brink of the elimination stage of the playoffs. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting. But if it's Orlando at Miami in a one or done game, that is going to be something to behold. And then the other side, the two LA teams are playing very well. The LA Galaxy, unbelievable, 5-0 over Colorado.
There were some blowouts in the first games of some of these.
Yeah, so some big statement games, big blowout games in the West, and Miami could end up playing against Orlando.
Yeah. Well, let's wrap up the show, Michelle, and let's talk a little bit about what those guys are making. And you wrote it again this past week. Miami backing up the truck, spending a lot of money out for obvious reasons. So we knew how much Lionel Messi makes, and we figured he made a lot, but $150 million. And let's go over that, Michelle, real quick as we wrap up the show here. Just tell us a little bit about those salaries in MLS.
Yeah, well, his total package is valued at $150 million, which a lot of that is that he gets equity in the team. He gets equity in Inter Miami upon retirement. So a lot of that money is deferred. That's money that's going to come after he retires. But his salary, and of course, none of this money we're talking about includes all of those products that he endorses, which we talked about last time. The Hard Rock, the Apple, the Adidas, all of that doesn't count any of this. The Lay's potato chips, the Lowe's home improvement stores, none of that. Michelob Ultra, none of that.
Publix.
Okay. Publix, none of those things are included. This is just the salary. Straight salary, $20 million guaranteed compensation, which from Inter Miami / MLS, which is more than 22 teams combined payroll. So he alone makes more than 22 MLS teams combined payrolls. And the Inter Miami payroll overall is $41.7 million, which is double most of the teams. The next highest team is Toronto at 31.8. So, they're like 10 million more than the second place team. And they're double most of the teams in MLS. So Miami is spending more money than anybody. Boosie is number 2, 8.8 million guaranteed. So he is 8.8 million is very, very high for MLS. And then the next two after that are Alba and Suarez at 1.5 million. Both of those guys took big pay cuts to come here. I believe that Alba has money still that was deferred from Barcelona that he's still getting. And Suarez may also have some deferred money sitting around. So they're both here for peanuts, for 1.5 million for a chance to play all together, the reunion of the Barcelona team and to play with Messi. So as far as bargains, Yannick Bright, $71,401. Biggest bargain. I hope he has a good agent. Yannick, if you need an agent, I'm raising my hand here. I'll take a cut. He definitely deserves a raise. And the way Tata raves about him after every single game, I think he's going to get a raise. Tata has been just raving about Yannick Bright and raving about the scouting staff and Chris Henderson for finding Yannick Bright. And then Noah Allen. $91,000. That's a pretty good bargain for a guy who's played a lot of minutes this year and has really stepped up when he had to in the back. Ben had $202,000 and Martinez David Martinez, who was injured for a few games recently, but is back, played a very good game against Atlanta. His base salary is $150 and $289 guaranteed compensation. So those are the guys who contribute the most, who are on the lower end of the scale of the payroll. But overall, still, yes, Miami is spending more money than anyone and may still get Neymar. Talking to Neymar behind the scenes from what we hear. So stay tuned. This superstar cast could get another big star. They're going to have to add another mountain to the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, and for their sake, they need to, because like we talked about at the top of the show, it's the extension of all of this. If you don't want that pitfall to happen the second Messi leaves and you just drift down and lose everything you've built, that would keep it going a few more years and add to their credibility down the road for sure.
Absolutely. So, we'd love to hear from you guys. By the way, we had so many comments last week when we asked about Tata and who should win coach, and we talked about MVP. Yeah. We got a lot of comments, and we'd love to hear from you guys. So wherever you are around the world, I love seeing where you're from. Even say where you're from and chime in. And you know, on YouTube, those of you who are posting comments, make sure to let us know. What do you think about Neymar? What do you think about the possibility of Neymar coming here? And anything else that you want to chime in on. We love to interact with our audience. So please join us and share your thoughts with us.
For sure. So Michelle and I will be back next week to look over game 2 of the series with Atlanta. Was Inter Miami already moving on? Are they getting ready to face state rival Orlando? Or at that point, did Atlanta tie things up and put Inter Miami on the brink? We'll be back next week to talk about that, wherever they stand. And if there's any other developments, Neymar, anyone else, Messi, we'll see. We'll bring it to you. But thanks for watching, as always, on YouTube or at MiamiHerald.com. Remember, if you can only listen to us, also available Spotify and all those podcatchers as well. Until then, for Michelle Kaufman, I'm Andre Fernandez. Enjoy the game this weekend and have a good weekend. And we'll see you next week on Inside Inter Miami.